Hello, Braves fans, and welcome to the 9521 Atlanta Baseball Podcast as we are live on X once again, and we are here post-trade deadline to talk about what went on the last few days with the Braves, and we will definitely get to that and the reactions of myself and my buddy Mike, who'll be joining us shortly to co-host as usual. We also have the 4-game series with the Nationals to talk about, and another successful week for the Braves as far as sweeping the Nats. They did lose 2 of 3 to the Mets out in New York, but nice bounce back, taking 4 in a row from the Nationals, who have by some measures the best offense in baseball. They have scored the most runs in baseball by a considerably wide margin coming into that series, and the Braves did not have Chris Sale going in that series, so a really good job by the rest of the pitching staff, from Grant Holmes to Bryce Elder to Martin Perez, and then J.R. Ritchie survived and gave them a chance to win on Sunday, and they did enough offensively from the Nationals and built some momentum as they ended that 17 straight game stretch, which is just really incredible that baseball even allows that to happen. But the Braves did manage to do well on that 17-game stretch. The Braves actually went 12-5 during that stretch, and that was big. I think a lot of people thought that stretch of games coming out of the All-Star break would be maybe a make or break. And it may have been a break for the rival Phillies, as they struggled coming out of the gates after the All-Star break, and the Braves took off. And again, with the exception of that kind of ugly series against the Mets, the Braves have won every series except that one coming out of the break. While the Phillies have scuffled a bit, they did recover and beat the Orioles 2 out of 3. Last I checked, as we were recording this, or we're live also, but they had rallied to take the lead against the Nationals tonight. No biggie there. No big surprise there. That Nationals bullpen continues to be that Nationals bullpen, as I believe Washington had a 3-0 lead on the Phillies at one point. Just checked, it's now 6-3 Phillies, so they're probably going to win. And but still, the Braves have a solid 8-game lead in the division, and they will maintain that. I guess it'll dip to 7.5 since the Braves are off tonight, and the Phillies look to be on their way to a win. But still, 7.5-game lead for Atlanta as we are in early August. You feel pretty good about that. And, of course, we'll get to the trade deadline discussion here. I'm trying to wait on Mike to make sure he keeps me grounded and in line when I talk about Alex Anthopoulos and this trade deadline. Probably already made some enemies on social media today after the deadline, but frankly, I don't care. It was not the deadline that most of us were hoping for, and judging by the reactions on social media and from fellow podcasters who I think certainly have a lot more credibility than myself and Mike do right now, because we are small time. But a lot of the podcasters who have a large following are saying the same things that I think I'm going to say about the trade deadline. A lot of disappointment in how it went down, particularly today, hoping for kind of a big splash finish for the Braves, and we didn't get that. So Mike has joined us, thankfully, before I started really getting too deep into the trade deadline, to make sure I don't go too far off the rails. But Mike, first I was talking about the 4-game sweep. I wanted to start on a positive note, the 4-game sweep of the Nationals, and the pitching staff against the team that scored the most runs in the league by a considerable margin. The Washington Nationals, with no Chris Sale pitching over the weekend, Grant Holmes, Bryce Elder, Martin Perez, and to an extent, J.R. Ritchie. He kind of survived, but he did give the team a chance to win, and they scored enough runs to do so. So really a great series coming out of a really kind of a frustrating series with the Mets over in Queens there. But good 4-game set. Offense was pretty good. A lot of home runs. Matt Olson continues to be on a bit of a home run heater. And then, again, the pitching staff did its job. Bullpen was lights out for the most part. Starters were better than you could have expected. Just your thoughts, Mike, on that 4-game set with the Nats.
Yeah, it was good to sweep them. I can still hear the music, just so you know.
Oh, that's not good. I thought I stopped it.
It's quiet, but I can still hear it.
All right, there we go. Should be good now.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it was good to sweep them. Glad to see that the offense could handle them, and I mean their pitching is not great, so I'm not shocked that we were able to put some runs up on the board. But it's good to see now we have, I think, a 5-game winning streak, if I'm right.
Yes, I believe so. And I was mentioning before you got on, talking about that Nationals bullpen. They actually had a 3-0 lead on the Phillies at one point tonight, but it's now 6-3 Phillies as the Nationals bullpen continues to disappoint. But look, the Braves, I was mentioning 7.5 games up, assuming the Phillies do win tonight, 7.5 games up on the Phillies in the East. They have won 5 in a row, 7 of the last 10. That's all great. And we're going to definitely highlight the positives for sure. I'm not going to try to be completely negative, Nilly, but I'm also going to be realistic, and I want to be straight. And I was saying right as you were jumping on, I've been on social media since the trade deadline ended, and a lot of our fellow podcasters who carry a lot more weight than we do just because they've been around longer and have a larger following are saying the same things. So this is not one little podcaster going off and pitching a fit. This is a significant portion of the fan base that is not happy with the way things went down the last couple of days. But again, before we jump into that, I do want to go back to this weekend and this past week in general because a bit of both, I think, good and bad, Mike, or positive and negative. If you look at the week as a whole against the Mets and the Nats, and again, thanks to my guy Nicholas Eck for putting these stats together for me. Matt Olson, 4 home runs, 6 RBI, led the way in both those categories this week. Ozzie hit 320 this week. He was 8 out of 25. He did have 1 homer, 5 RBI. Drake Baldwin struggling a little bit again, 222 over the week, no homers, 6 for 27, 1 extra base hit. It was a double. So a little bit of a rough week for him. Austin Riley, 200. He batted 4 for 20, 11 strikeouts, the only Brave in double-digit strikeouts for the week. I don't have anything else to say about Austin Riley at this point. It is what it is. Michael Harris is in a bit of a slump. He went 3 for 25 for the week, 1 home run. And then Ronald Acuna, he's shown some signs, Mike. I mean, he's barreled up the ball. He's hit a couple of homers. He had 2 homers in the Washington series. Only 4 for 26 for the week, still 9 strikeouts during that time. So not quite back to what we really need from Ronald, but there are signs there. He's hit the ball. He actually at least 2 hits I can think of, or 2 barrels that ended up being outs. So he's definitely hitting the ball harder and making good contact. Mike Yastrzemski thankfully had a really good week, 4 for 11, 2 home runs. And then Dominic Smith hit a home run as well, a big home run. So 11 home runs during the week, and a lot of positives there, obviously, and you're going to have guys have down times, but you're going to need this offense to continue to play well, and we'll talk about the acquisition here in a minute of another outfielder, another bat. But when you look at that, Mike, obviously if you could get Baldwin, Acuna, Harris back to what he's done most of the year, that's a very deep lineup. I'll take that, even with Riley struggling. And I don't think Baldwin's going to struggle like he is. And I do see some signs from Acuna. What did you think about Ronnie over the weekend?
Looking good. I mean, he after coming back from the extended injury. I don't think he was as hurt as he was, but I think they wanted to baby him back into it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think he's looking good. He looks like he's somewhat back to average Ronnie, which is fine with me. I have no problem with him being average. Like I said on someone's live stream today, I just need him to be average and Riley to be average, and that's fine. It's we're 8 games up on the Phillies, not including tonight's game. So if we can just ride this with them being average, they don't have to overperform. Just be average, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, and despite the overall rough-looking stats for Riley, he actually did have a pretty good series. If you just take the Nats series, I think he batted 400, had a couple of big hits. I had one really good barreled-up ball that I can remember towards the gap that the outfielder almost made a great play on, but he actually dropped it. And so that was kind of a break for Riley that he hasn't been getting this year, and he got credit for a double on that. And rightfully so. It was a hard-hit ball. And thankful to see Riley get a break because it really had been few and far between for him so far this season. So, yeah, the Braves end up going 12-5 during that 17-game stretch that everybody was, kind of worried about, and rightfully so. I mean, I think it's kind of ridiculous. I think the collective bargaining agreement says you can't have a stretch of more than 19 games straight without a day off.
So we came close.
I think 17 is too much, but, yeah, we came real close to that. But 12-5, I mean, you'll take that. And if they had won one more game against the Mets, probably 13-4 and would have no series losses since the All-Star break. That said, schedule gets a little tougher coming up. Marlins coming in. They've been playing better since that kind of death stretch they went into.
Yeah.
They swept the Phillies right after that, which did us a lot of good, helped us out. Then I think we play
quite a bit.
Yeah, we play the Yankees coming up. Got Milwaukee in a couple weeks. I mean, it's a little bit tougher stretch here in August. But, again, we're 8 games up, even after tonight, 8 games up in the loss column, even if the Phillies do win. So transitioning a bit into the trade deadline, because I know that's what everybody really wants to talk about, including myself. The 3, I think, headline acquisitions, Lane Thomas, Brent Suter, and Tyler Mahle. Lane Thomas, probably the one that stands out the most right now amongst that group as the bat that we've kind of felt like we needed, a left fielder that can hit off lefties, right-handed bat that can hit for power. He does that. I saw a lot of people saying this was not much of an upgrade over Eli White, but there's a significant difference in their WRC pluses against left-handed pitchers. Lane Thomas, his career been a 125 to 130 type WRC plus against lefties. So he's basically 25 to 30% better than the league average. If you don't, if people out there aren't familiar with WRC plus, Eli White was at about an 89 this year against lefties. So he's about 10% below league average against lefties. I love Eli. We traded him late this afternoon, and I'm sorry to see him go, but I think Lane Thomas is a good acquisition. There's not any of these acquisitions, by the way, that I'm going to be real critical of. What we did, I'm happy with as far as in and of themselves. Each move made some amount of sense, even if none of them are going to be a difference maker. They all make sense within what he was trying to do. And Lane Thomas is a guy that we've looked at before, and I think he made a lot of sense here, Mike.
Yeah, he did. I mean, the bat is definitely going to help when it comes to that. It does stink to lose Eli. He comes a lot closer to me since he got dealt to Boston.
Yeah.
But we were all looking for that starting pitcher, and outside of Mahle, I mean, we saw him when we played the Giants, and he wasn't that impressive, at least to me. But that's the guy we end up with. So I mean, I've got to look at it like AA has to be looking at. We're going to get Schwellenbach back and Smith-Stravers back. Like he's riding on those guys, and it's like we don't know if they're going to be fine coming back from this extended injuries that both of them have had. So hopefully they'll be fine, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm putting the transactions page up here. A lot going on, obviously. That's normal for this time of year. If you've missed out on some of the news in the last few days, they did recall James Karanchek from Gwinnett. We once again designated Alicia Hernandez after a really good performance. Traded for Tyler Mahle. Is that how we're saying it? Mahle?
Mahle.
Yeah, Mahle. Okay. And we only gave up Anthony Molina. So, again, No problems with that move in and of itself. And Melee has been better since coming back from an injury. He's actually pitched into the 6th inning, I think 3 or 4 consecutive starts, which is something that our pitchers have struggled with. So
having problems with, yeah.
I'll take it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, again, I don't have a problem with that move either. I mean, he's not the guy. When we made that move, I thought, well, there's more to come, but that's not a bad guy that's going to eat some innings and get us through these last 8 weeks or so of the season and keep us from having to tax our bullpen so much and et cetera and so on. But he's not the guy that's going to take you through the postseason. So, but again, Brent Suter, before we get into the, kind of the overall picture here, again, I think in and of itself, left-handed reliever, probably a slight improvement over Danny Young. I don't know if this leaves Danny Young out in the cold now or not.
Probably.
So, again, I don't have a problem with any of those 3 deals. I don't have a problem with what we gave up, and I don't have a problem with what we got back. We give up Nacho Alvarez. We give up late this afternoon. We gave up Eli White and Joey Bart, but we had to do that. Joey Bart had to go, so Murphy comes back tomorrow. Not sure who we're going to get when Murphy's hurt again in a week or so, but we'll tackle that when it happens.
We'll just pull up Sandy Leone from Gwinnett, probably.
The negative side's coming out. Maybe Brian McCann's available. Yeah, so again, in and of itself, these 3 moves, especially the ones that are on the screen, no problem with. And I actually think Mahle could be the sleeper move here, Mike, as far as people may be surprised at what he's able to do for us over the next 8 weeks. I hope that's the case.
We both do.
So, yeah, here's the problem. We didn't address the one glaring need. The one area. You cannot go into the postseason and have one legitimate starting pitcher. And that's what the Braves have. I have calmed down a lot since 6 o'clock Eastern time. But as mad as I've been at AA in the past, I think seething is a good word to use in this case. And in fairness to him, I want to try to be balanced here. I could get on here and rant and rave, and I've done that on the phone with some friends and on X, to be balanced on the podcast and try to be as professional as possible here. I understand that Alex can only make the moves that make sense with the teams that are willing to deal with him. And you do start to wonder, has Alex burned some bridges and there are just some teams that don't want to deal with Alex? I don't know.
We don't know, yeah.
In a vacuum, I wouldn't be that upset. But when you look at what other teams did, Mike, especially our National League rival, every team that we may have to play in the postseason got better today. And they all, except maybe the Phillies, added starting pitching. They were able to add starting pitching in deals right at the last second. The San Diego Padres got Casey Mize, and the Padres don't even have that great of a farm system. The Braves could have definitely come up with a package to get Casey Mize. Do I want to give up Eric Hartman and Cam Caminiti and Tate Southsea? Of course not. And I don't think it would have taken all that to get Casey Mize. Maybe one of those guys. But at some point, you have to realize that the highest percentage of these prospects don't work out to be really good Major League Baseball players. A very small percent become serviceable Major League Baseball players, and a very tiny percent become really good to great baseball players. So when you trade these prospects away, you think you're giving up the future Mickey Mantle, but most of the time you're giving up the future Eli White, right? And no offense to Eli, but he's no Mickey Mantle. I mean, a couple of years ago, when I saw somebody else say this on X, a couple of years ago, you had Braves fans out there, some of them saying, we can't give up Nacho Alvarez. He's the future. Don't give up Nacho. I may have been saying that. I don't remember. But I'll tell you this, we just gave up Nacho Alvarez for a guy that throws an 88-mile-per-hour fastball. So prospects don't always work out. And when you have a team that is that close, get my hands on here, that close, and I feel like the Braves are that close, at least go get one. At least go get one pitcher. And there were some that didn't move at all. Reed Detmers, I believe, didn't move. There was a rumor he went to the Cubs, but I don't think that deal ever actually materialized. Sandy Alcantara never went anywhere from the Marlins. I'm trying to think. A couple of guys. Foster Griffin moved. You tell me we couldn't put a package together. I forgot where he went, but you go to where did
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Yeah, good pickup for Cleveland. I think Cleveland did a good job today. Cleveland did a better job than the Braves today, and they're a small market, tight on the purse strings team. There's too much to talk about in one show, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. But when you factor in how much money Atlanta Braves Holdings is making off the Battery and now off of Braves Vision, and these are the things we get stuck with. And I want to make this clear one last time. And again, I'm being very calm here. I hope everybody takes note of that. I'm not upset that our team is in first place and has an 8-game lead. I've seen that all day today and yesterday. Why are the Braves fans mad? Because we're in first place and we have an 8-game lead. Here's what I'll say to that in the nicest way I can say on a podcast that I hope is family-oriented most of the time. I don't give a crap about being in first place and having an 8-game lead on August the 3rd. I don't give a crap about winning the NL East anymore. We've done that. We've been there. I counted it up the other day. I posted it on X. I've had this discussion. 21 division titles since 1991. 24 total postseason appearances since 1991, which I believe, I didn't check every team. I think it's the second most postseason appearances next to the Yankees in that time frame. So let's just use the Yankees. I think they had 26, 2 more than us. 5 World Series titles. That's not a hugely great percentage either, but it's better than 2.
Mm-hmm.
2 and 24. The San Francisco Giants, 9 postseason appearances, 3 World Series titles. The Florida Marlins, or Miami if you prefer, 4 postseason appearances, as many World Series titles as the Braves have.
With no division titles.
With no division titles, which have become basically meaningless. And only reason they're meaningful now is if you get one of the top 2 spots, you get that first round bye, which has been debatable whether that's even that valuable. And right now the Braves aren't in that spot either. They're still 2 games behind both the Dodgers, and if the Brewers lose tonight, which they were losing earlier, they'll be 2 games behind both of those teams. So there's still plenty of time for the Braves to get one of those 2 spots. But if they don't, they're basically just a wild card team, because you got to play the wild card round, which is a total crapshoot, 3-game series, right? And so you go into that, by the way, with Chris Sale obviously pitching game 1. I'm sure they'll find a way to set that up at the end of the season where he's going to pitch game 1. And then you're going to have Martin Perez, Bryce Elder.
Maybe Trevor Bailey?
Yeah, I mean, maybe Smith Shawver if he comes back and shoves. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you've got one proven guy that you feel like can go out and win a postseason game. So maybe you survive the wild card. If you have to play in it, maybe you survive that 3-game series. But now you don't have Chris Sale available for the first probably couple games of the LDS. And we all know what's going to happen here, Mike. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm really not trying to be a negative Nancy. This team's going out in the LDS at best. I mean, I don't see how you go into an LDS against the Brewers, the Phillies, maybe the Phillies, but even then you got to face Wheeler, Sanchez, and Luzardo. And they got a little better today. I like the Luis Arraez move. We'll talk more about that as we go on, about what our rivals did. Maybe save that for next week. I mean, the Phillies didn't do a ton today, but I do like the Arraez move. He's capable of getting on base ahead of Schwarber and Harper and those guys that can hit dingers. But again, even without him, you got to face Wheeler, Sanchez, and Luzardo with Chris Sale and the guys who bag groceries down at your local hometown foods, right? I mean, that's basically and no offense to those guys. I love them to death. I love the fight that Bryce Elder shows. I love the grit that Martin Perez pitches with and that Grant Holmes pitches with. They battle and they fight, and that's great over 162 games. It's not great when you're in a postseason series. It's just not. I'm doing all the talking here. I'm trying to get it all out. If you want to jump in, feel free. I can take a break and you can give your thoughts up to this point. I'm being very calm, Mike. Being very calm.
You are. You most definitely are, because I have the text messages.
Yes.
I'm done. I'm just done. I'm just done, man. I can't do it. I can't do this. I get it.
I can't. I can't. I really can't.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, we don't. We're gonna. It's gonna be a first round exit if we're lucky enough to get past the wild card. It will be out in the LDS. I don't see us getting some kind of miracle if Smith-Shawver like is outstanding, lights out when he after this first start, and if Schwellenbach's able to come back and be lights out, then great. Okay, we've got 3, but that would be a miracle. That would be an absolute miracle, because Chris Sale's going to go out there and do Chris Sale things.
Yeah.
From the last I heard, I want to say that Strider's done for the year. Essentially,
Yeah.
They haven't said anything official, but it sounds like it. And honestly, when it comes to him, I'd rather see him coming out of the bullpen at this point. Like once Iggy's done, like because he's, I want to say 36 or 37, and in a couple of years. So we have for I think a couple of years. Make Strider into the closer. He's got. I mean, he can probably bring it 99 100 for an inning. But it doesn't sound like he can do it long term for a long stretch of time. So turn him into a closer, and like go the Smoltz route and turn him into a closer. But at this point, he's not coming back to start, and we have to pray for these 2 guys that are coming off injuries this season to possibly be fine for September and October. It does not look good. No, but like you said, we have an 8-game lead. We're gonna make the playoffs. It would take a monumental collapse for us to not make the playoffs at this point.
I'll say this about Atlanta sports, and I think most people would agree with me that have been a long time Atlanta sports fans. And I know you're not. Neither one of us are technically, like, I'm not a Falcons fan, but I do pull for the Falcons for most of the time. You have loyalties elsewhere in the NFL as well. I've always followed the Hawks, but I'm not passionate about the NBA anymore. I'm not. But as an Atlanta sports fan in general, never underestimate Atlanta sports' ability to collapse epically. Okay, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Braves are going to be fine in the regular season. I think they're going to finish this thing off. They're going to win the NL East. They could very well come back and get one of those top 2 spots if the Brewers or Dodgers slide a little bit. But both those teams made themselves considerably better, I think. The Dodgers, obviously, of course they did with Tarek Skubal, and we'll save that for another show. And tune in to Clearing the Bases Wednesday night at 9 Eastern here on X to hear all about our thoughts on the Dodgers and Tarek Skubal and the state of baseball and where we're headed with the labor strife. So tune in right here on X on our page and NYMLB Talk as well for Clearing the Bases. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that AJ comes back and is the AJ that we saw before he was hurt. And it's possible that Schwellenbach gets back in time to be effective. All that's possible, but I think one reason Braves fans are really upset is because Alex has told us that starting pitching was going to be prioritized. He told us it would be a priority. We had the extra money from the Profar situation. I mean, there's just really no excuses. There's just really no excuses for not getting one proven starting pitcher when you look around the league, and they were going everywhere but Atlanta. And it's not like it was, a couple years ago where our farm system was depleted and we really didn't have the prospect capital. We have the prospect capital. Our farm system has improved from, most people ranking it 26th to 28th to now it's 14th or 15th. And some people are saying that by the time you factor in the recent draft, it's probably going to be maybe a top 10 farm system. We have the prospect capital. And again, those are guys that in some form or fashion, they're kind of designed to be moved. Like, you don't expect all of your prospects to one day be on your team. You're going to move some of them. We didn't move any of them. None of them of consequence. Lucas Braun was probably the best one we moved, I guess, in the that was the Lane Thomas deal, right? So he's probably going to be a serviceable major league pitcher, somewhere along the lines of a Bryce Elder type. That's all we gave up. I mean, I got so much I can say. I don't want to turn this into an hour-long rant. I know that a couple of our, I know one podcast in particular, the guy admitted on X, he's been on like 16 rants in the first 30 minutes. I don't want to turn this into that. I want to say that the rest of the season, this team should be fun to watch. I do think Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to start doing Ronald Acuna Jr. things here very soon. He's already showing signs. Still striking out more than I'd like to see, but I think he's getting the timing down on those fastballs. Harris is going to bounce back and be what he's been. Baldwin's going to be fine. Matt Olson, what an incredible – if you want to give AA credit for something, that's a good move. That was a fantastic move. At the time, we were all upset we lost Freddie. And I think there's still an argument to be made there that we lost more with Freddie than just his stats. This team hasn't won a postseason series since he left. I think there's something to be said for clubhouse leadership and things of that nature. But I don't think Matt Olson's a bad clubhouse leader. I think he's just very quiet, right?
He's not the vocal type, exactly.
Right.
He's quiet, not the vocal type.
For sure. And I feel bad to some extent, even more than our fans, for those players. They're not going to say it out loud. They're not going to be like Bryce Harper. There's nobody on our team that's going to say the quiet part out loud. But they had to be thinking we were going to get some help for starting pitching, because Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, whoever's playing shortstop that day, maybe Jarvis now is going to slot in there pretty permanently. They all have to sit there and watch these guys struggle to get through the fifth inning and give up home runs and give up, they see it. And they have to know that when you get to the playoffs and you're facing Yamamoto and Tyler Glasnow and Shohei Ohtani and Jacob Misiorowski, and now the Cubs have Kevin Gossman. They also got, was it Braxton Garrett from Marlins? And then, of course, the Phillies with the Wheeler, Sanchez, Luzardo trio. And we have Chris Sale, Bryce Elder, and Martin Perez. Again, no offense.
We have Chris Sale.
We have Chris Sale. No offense.
Yeah, that's it.
Martin Perez absolutely shoved Saturday. Like, he looked like he was unhittable for 7+ innings. And there for a minute, I thought he might actually go the distance and get the no-no. But he's just not the guy. He's not going to do that in the postseason. He's just not.
No.
The postseason is a different animal. The teams you're playing are more locked in. I think the Nats looked a little listless this weekend. I don't know if they knew they were going to be sellers. I mean, Luis Garcia Jr. had a good series against us, and he gets traded on Sunday to the Yankees. I don't know, man. I could go on and talk about all the things that I think AA has done wrong. I think most of the fan base gets it now. Some of us were on this bandwagon a couple years ago. And look, 2021 was great. It was great. I loved it. And I just don't want to wait 26 more years for another one. And he got lucky in 2021. You can say what you want. He got lucky. He signed every outfielder he could possibly find, and it just so happened that all four of those guys made significant contributions to that team in the postseason. You replay that 10 times, that only happens that one time, I feel like, where all those guys do that. And then 2022 and 2023, I won't even put a lot of blame on him for that. Those were two 100-win teams, and that's on the players. They underachieved in the postseason. They lost to a team that they beat out for that's the other thing. We're beating our chest. We got fans out there. We're beating the Phillies by 8 games. If I remember correctly, Mike, we beat the Phillies in 2022 and 2023 as well, and then they beat us when it mattered. So that's why I'm not getting too excited about it. It's not that I don't care. We've won divisions. We've beaten the Phillies. This is our division. This is where we should be. It shouldn't be an accomplishment to win the NL East. That's our birthright since 1995, I guess, technically. That's what we're supposed to do. We're the Braves. We win the East. But we're also known as the Braves who never win in October. And, we had a generational pitching staff. Maybe the greatest pitching staff of all time, arguably. You could make that argument. I don't know if they are, but you could make the argument. One World Series title. 2022, 2023, 100 win teams, offensive juggernaut. Didn't get out of the first round. 2025, we slip in with a wild card. Yes, we had, or 2024, slipped in with a wild card. Terrible injuries. I get it. Get swept in the wild card round. Last year, offense was dormant for half the season. Then the pitching injuries cropped up again. All the more reason, though, Mike, with the pitching injuries we've had the last couple of years, off season should have been when he addressed the starting pitching. Not wait till we shouldn't even have to wait till this deadline. He should have addressed it in the off season. So I think I speak for a lot of Braves fans when I say we're tired of just winning in division and getting bounced in October. Just a reminder of what I just said. We have not won a postseason series since the 2021 World Series, which, by the way, guys, 5 years ago, 5 years, going on 6. It would be nice to at least gotten back to another one. And we really haven't sniffed another one because we got bounced in the LDS both times. So
I'd take an LCS berth at this point.
I mean, I'll be surprised. And if we lose to the Dodgers, I guess you can say, well, we lost to the Major League Baseball All-Star team, I got a whole bunch to say about that, and so do my colleagues. Clearing the Bases, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, here on X. If somebody wants to come on, by the way, and argue with us, because I'm pretty sure all 4 of us or 5 of us, how many are on that show? 4 or 5?
I don't know if Nick's on, it's 5. But
yeah, I think we're all going to be there. I think we're all going to be kind of on the same page on that deal, although Lorenzo often likes to make the devil's advocate argument, so maybe he will. But anyway, I've said what I can say without ranting. Do I think the Braves still win this division? Absolutely. I think the Braves are going to win the NL East. I think it's still a good possibility they grab one of those 2 first-round buys. And then it may be a matter of who they match up with. I mean, honestly, if they match up against can't think in my head right now how this would work. Let's just say them and the Dodgers get the bye, then I guess we wouldn't have to worry about the Dodgers till the LCS. Okay. So we would probably have to play Milwaukee or, I don't know, the Cubbies, depending on how that all sets up. Maybe even the Phillies again, God forbid. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I just feel like I'm going to be sitting there in October like, yeah, I kind of knew this was coming, I think the overall thing that Braves fans like myself have to adjust to, the organization, and I've seen a lot of people posting today, Liberty Media. The Braves are no longer owned by Liberty Media, guys. The Braves are the Atlanta Braves holding company. They're a publicly traded company. Anthopoulos' bosses like Terry McGirt, they run this thing. They are, I saw somebody say this on X, and they're exactly right. They are a real estate company that kind of dabbles in baseball now. And you can hate on the Dodgers all you want, but the people who run the Dodgers have a singular goal in mind, and that is winning World Series championships. That's all they care about. They're making money. Now we'll go into Wednesday night on Clearing the Bases. I'm sure it will be discussed, all the advantages that franchise has. Okay, but just from a pure management standpoint, they are singularly focused on winning titles, not winning in the regular season, not telling everybody they're in first place on August 3rd, not getting to the division series, but winning the championship. The Braves organization, and this is not me I'm being very calm right now. They don't care. As long as they're winning enough games to bring people to the ballpark, to spend their money, and they're watching TV, so they're getting the ad money, and they're selling their real estate and buying their real estate, they're fine. They don't care if we hang another World Series banner. I mean, those 2 poles that are up in right field at Truist, they're going to fall over backwards with all the division flags we're going to put up there. That's great. There's 2 red ones up there from the Atlanta era. 2, Mike. And I'm grateful for those 2. I love them. I visit the trophies every trip I go to Truist. I want to go by and look at them, We could have had more, and we had a window here where I feel like we should have had more.
Most definitely should have had more.
Yeah, and let me say this just to cover my own butt here. I hope that every one of you that listens to this podcast and watches this podcast and is mad at me for saying this stuff, I hope every one of you get to throw it in my face in late October. I will go to the parade and wear my bathing suit to the parade. I don't know. I'll do something. Like, I hope I get to eat my words. I will eat that crow and put hot sauce on it and enjoy every minute of it. I just don't feel like I'm going to. I want to. I just don't feel like I'm going to have to eat crow. Yeah, that's all I can to keep it nice and clean and calm. That's all. That's all I'm going to go with, Mike. I'll let you give your thoughts here, and I'll shut up for a minute.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you actually noticed, we actually have a comment.
Oh, good.
Did you see we actually have a?
I
apologize that it took 20 minutes for us to
I get used to not seeing comments. Yeah, I would love to have had Sandy as a Brave as well, especially since I could learn to finally what is the proper way to pronounce his name. Look, man, I would have been happy with, and thank you, Go Magic, for the comment. I would have been happy with Reed Detmers. I would have been happy with Foster Griffin. I would have been happy with Casey Mize. Who else moved today? I know there were several. I would have been happy at the last minute. This would not have been my first choice. This would not have been my sixth choice, but I'd have been happy with Peralta at some point, like as opposed to nobody. You know, like I don't know. I hope AJ Smith comes in and just shoves. I hope Schwellenbach comes back at just the right time to be fresh for the postseason. The other thing we hadn't even discussed is starting to get a little worried about Robert Suarez.
Yeah.
It's August 3rd, and it doesn't sound like he's anywhere close. Now, if they're protecting him and trying to get through to the postseason, they want to keep him as fresh as possible. I'm all for that because apparently we're going to have to rely on that bullpen to get us to the postseason. I mean, I just wonder at this point, are we going to carry – I forget how many you can carry. Are we just going to carry like 14 bullpen guys in the postseason and just have Chris Sale as our one starter? I mean –
sure, let's have a bunch of bullpen games. I mean, why not?
I mean, I guess, we haven't really discussed it, Mike. I guess adding Tyler Mahle does enable you to does that enable you to move Grant Holmes to the bullpen where we've always said he kind of belongs? Assuming Lopez apparently has no structural damage and a short IL stint is what Walt Weiss said. So expect to get Lopez back in the next 10 days or so. If he comes back and he's fine. So then you'd have Sale, Elder, Perez, Lopez, and Mahle. So unless you go with a 6-man rotation, Holmes will be back in the bullpen.
Which is someplace he needs to be. Like, he really does.
Yeah.
I mean, first couple times through the order, he's okay. And then that third time, they've stopped him every single time. So, yeah, he needs to be a longer guy. Even if he goes to 3 innings, if someone gets blown up in a game, that's fine. But that needs to be his role for at least the rest of the season.
Yeah, and look, if you want to build a positive case here and look on the bright side, which I am capable of doing, if you think about, if our starters can get through 4 or 5, which is all we're really asking them now, but even in a postseason series, and you have Grant Holmes who can bridge that middle gap, and then you got Fuentes who's been going multiple innings, and that kid's just blowing people away right now. And then you get into the Suarez and the Dylan Lees and the Iggy's, then yeah, you got a shot. You got a shot. If that's the case we want to build, the thing is those guys are going to have to, during the postseason, they can't pitch an inning and then take the next night off. You got to get your ass back out there and pitch again, and I'm sure in the postseason they'll do that. But yeah, putting Holmes in that bullpen really extends that pen with Fuentes out there because those two together are fully capable of bridging a 4th inning to a 7th inning gap. And then, like I said, you have Suarez, Dylan Lee, and Iggy to finish it off. That makes me excited when I think about that. That does make me excited. I don't know, man. I'm just flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted that we didn't get one more starting pitcher. But and look, if AJ comes back, throw him in that mix. Then maybe you put Raylo back in the bullpen too. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I've got more thoughts, but we'll save it. Let's see what happens this week. And it's a big week. Home series with the Marlins, and then we hit the road for New York. Am I right?
Yep.
So, the Yankees are currently losing. They're not real happy with their deadline either, by the way. Our good friend Chris from NYMLB Talk, who's also on Clearing the Bases, he is not super happy with the Yankees deadline either. So, Yankees Braves, I was telling him maybe that's going to be we try to see how much we can screw up our deadline World Series coming up this week at Yankee Stadium.
They're losing 6-5 right now in the 7th.
Yeah, they're down 6-5. The important one for us, the Brewers are still losing to the Pirates, but it was 4-0. I think it's now 4-3 Pirates in the 7th, and the Brewers have 2 on and 1 out. So really help us out there, Pittsburgh, if you could hold on to that one. And, next week, Mike, we may just spend some time, too, just talking about the National League as we head towards the postseason, because even the Pirates made moves today. They got Luke Weaver, which I thought was a bit of a surprise. San Diego made a lot of moves. They decided to be buyers. They kind of went on a little bit of a run after we beat them, I think, 3 out of 4. We know what the Dodgers did. We'll talk about that. The Cubs weren't quiet. They made a lot of moves. The Phillies getting a rise. That was a little bit of a surprise to me, but again, I don't think it's a terrible move for the Phillies. So we'll discuss all that next week. We'll kind of talk about the rest of the league and what they did. Want to do some trivia? You got trivia for us?
I do. I came up with this about 2.5 hours ago. Like, I got into it and I was like, I don't have a question. Shoot. So I was able to come up with it pretty quickly. So
Nice.
All right, so last week's was everyone remembers Hank Aaron's 715th home run with the infamous call of "Here's a Pitch" by Downing.
Yeah.
But can you tell me who gave up number 755?
I never even looked it up, so I do not know, Mike. I do not know.
Just making sure that his name is Kyle.
Catfish Hunt.
No. The guy who made the comment, his name is Kyle. Just seeing if he's still on, and I'm giving him a little bit of a chance to see if he can come up with the answer.
Gotcha.
Probably.
Take your time.
Yep, no worries.
I can't believe nobody wanted to get the Chipper Jones card. I'm just going to keep it. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, I bought a really nice Andrew Jones today, but autograph. I'll have to show you that one when I get it. Probably keep it on.
So the answer was California Angels pitcher Dick Drago.
Dick Drago.
Yep.
That sounds like a 1970s type baseball name for sure.
Doesn't it? It really does. It fits the 70s perfectly.
It does. It really does.
All right. So this week,
Yes.
because I knew how doom and gloom you were possibly going to be.
Yeah.
With us being at least, I think now we're 7.5 because.
Go Magic, said Dick Drago. Good job. Go Magic. Well done.
All right. So with us being 7.5 up after Philly did win, and well over 500, we are 67-45. What was the worst record at the beginning of August that came back and won the World Series?
Oh wow. Worst record at the beginning of August that came back and won the World Series. All right.
You don't have to get the record. That's
Yeah.
That's crap shoot on that one. But if you, the question is who's the team?
That's a good one. You always have a good one. My first instinct would be to say the 2019 Nationals. But I think they started their run in mid-May, so they were probably much better by the 1st of August. Because they started off like 17-31 that year, like something really atrocious, and they just went on a run. But they probably recovered. So it's not them, right? It's not them.
It is not them.
Okay. Pre-wild card, post-wild card?
Pre-wild card.
Okay. I'll have to think about it then. So everybody think about it. I'm dying to give some stuff away, guys. I'm dying to do a giveaway, but we got to have people more than – and we appreciate Go Magic. Thank you, Go Magic. We just need more than one.
He's entered into the
he's in the drawing. I'll still give the card away. It's a really nice card. By the way, the Pirates did get out of that mess, so they're still up 1 on the Brewers in the 8th. So, yeah, I mean, you guys shoot us an answer. You can comment on this post on X. You can go to our YouTube page where this recording will be. You can go to our Spotify where this recording will be. Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, you can check this out. Comment with an answer, and I'll make sure you get something. I got plenty of Didier Fuentes rookie cards to give away. So is this Go Magic again? It is. The 1940 Boston Red. And he loved that chipper card. All right, well, you're in, man, and right now you are entered into a drawing of 1. So you have a really good shot right now, Go Magic. We're gonna take entries through the August 24th show, and then at the end of that show we'll do the giveaway. So yeah. So Mike, do you want to say if that's the right answer? Because people listening to this, if they're not watching, they won't see that. They won't know.
Then I will let it ride.
Okay.
I will message him whether he is correct or not. To see.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Good job, Go Magic. You're in the drawing. Congratulations. Yeah. So good stuff, Mike. Again, you come up with some really tough ones there. All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there, man. I think I did all right. I think I did okay. I didn't lose my mind. There was no yelling. Limited cursing, I think. I tried to control that. So we'll leave it there, Mike. You have any final thoughts before we sign off until next Monday?
I'm glad I didn't walk into complete doom and gloom. That was good. I'm glad to see that. I wasn't sure. I kept hearing you mention. Do you have something going on Wednesday?
Oh, something. Yeah, clearing the bases, Mike.
Okay.
9 Eastern on right here on X, streamed on our channel here. It's also on NYMLB Talks X page and YouTube page. So check us out. It's if you haven't seen Clearing the Bases, it's myself along with 4 other baseball content creators. NYMLB Talk, Chris and Rob included, Lorenzo from Big League Takes, and then Nick Arno from Rounding Third. So check out all those pages and podcasts individually. But yeah, live on Wednesday nights, we do a show called Clearing the Bases. And if you haven't seen it, it started off, we kind of did a game show format with some points involved and things like that. And we've taken a break from that to just talk baseball as we've gotten into the trade deadline. And we head towards the postseason, so we'll see. That's probably not going to be our permanent format. We'll probably go back to something kind of fun eventually, but just come talk some ball with us. And we'll definitely have a lot to say about the Los Angeles Dodgers and the state of baseball on Wednesday night. I can tell you from the group chat that it's going to be a lot of fun coming up Wednesday night. So check us out. And while we're promoting stuff, check out Bullpen Sessions. Episode 2 is coming up this week. Lorenzo from Big League Takes is going to join me, and we're going to talk about the state of offense in baseball. If you haven't had a chance yet, go back to last week's premiere episode. It's on Spotify and YouTube as well. Me and Chris from NYMLB Talk discussed gambling in baseball, the history of it, the Black Sox, Pete Rose, up to the current scandals with Emmanuel Clase and prop betting and things of that nature. So that was a really good talk with Chris. Just a laid-back one-on-one format, and this week it'll be Lorenzo. We have a special guest on the hook that I'm trying to reel him in. It would be huge, but I don't want to say it and then not get him on here. But I would just say that he's a well-known name, former Major League Baseball player, and if we can get him, be a big win for us. So trying to he told me to reach out to him, and I have. Now I'm just waiting on a response. So I've been ghosted by former major leaguers before, so I'm not going to count my chickens, Mike. I don't know if I've told you about this. Have I told you about it?
You have not. I will find out because I'm going to bother you off the air. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'll tell you off the air. I forget which group chats I put it in. I think I've only put it in Clearing the Bases. So, this will be huge for us. So anyway, tune in, bullpen sessions. I'm releasing those on Friday afternoons. Those are recorded. So Friday afternoons, you'll find those on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. So, all right, we won't bore you with any more promos. Appreciate everybody that watched live. Check out our recording. This will be the recordings will be on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts soon. Mike, any final words? That sounded ominous. Any final words?
Yeah. I'm just hopeful that we'll be able to do something in the playoffs as opposed to nothing at all. That's how it's looking right now. But got to be somewhat optimistic. So,
I think doing this podcast has been cathartic. I feel better. I'm going to try to have a positive attitude, and I'm going to root for my team like I have for the last 40 plus years, and I'm going to live or die with them regardless. I'm going to be a Braves fan if we get bounced in the first round. I'm going to be a Braves fan if we win the World Series. So, it really doesn't matter at this point. I'm bought in. It's just frustrating when you see that the commitment from the organization is not what you want it to be as a fan. But all right, guys, thank you. We will check you out at the ballpark, and go Braves. And I'm going to start the music before we leave, so it'll be on the recording. And appreciate you guys. Mike, stay on, and I'll tell you who the hopeful special guest is.
No worries.